Question time. What are my thoughts on the carnivore diet? I'm going to explain this from two different perspectives because I think the context is actually really, really important. When I'm beginning to work with a client, there are a number of different things that I take into consideration. For example, if I work with somebody who's vegan, I'm not going to suggest to them that they need to eat animal products because they're high in protein. I think that it's really important to choose a diet that is well balanced in alignment with what your core beliefs and values are. And then it's my job to educate you on how to incorporate a wide variety of foods to achieve the goal that you want. Now, if somebody has been given a particularly restrictive protocol, whether it be the carnivore diet or the ketogenic diet, and it's from a qualified medical professional, and it might be for a specific reason, i.e. there is some evidence to suggest that following a carnivore diet can help people with autoimmune disease or high inflammation in the body. Now, if that was their directed protocol from the qualified medical professional, it's not within my scope of practice to say, hey, I think that a better protocol for you to lose weight would be XYZ and include plant foods. Often I find a medical directive is generally not the case. It's usually something to do with body composition changes. For example, take the ketogenic diet. That was originally developed in the 1920s to help treat people with epilepsy. Now, fast forward 100 years, people are often taking on the ketogenic diet because they've seen people have really great results with it because they might be eliminating a particular macronutrient. Either they didn't know how to moderate, they didn't know what their energy requirements were, and highly likely that they were overeating or over-consuming more energy than their body required. Once they remove that particular macronutrient, i.e. they're not eating any more carbs, they may increase their fat content and therefore they feel more satiated. So over the course of the day, they could end up in a calorie deficit, i.e. they're just ingesting less energy based on the fact that they've eliminated a macronutrient that they used to overeat on, i.e. overconsume. So there are a number of different reasons why somebody might take on a protocol. If it happens to be restrictive where it cuts out a particular food group or lots of different foods, my advice to somebody would be make sure that you do your research and understand. So my advice would be make sure that you're doing your research so that you can hit both your macro and your micronutrient requirements. These things are really important for an optimal functioning body over the long term. Now, the thing is, if somebody decides to eliminate lots of particular foods, they may only be getting a very small or specific nutrient profile, which can lead to nutrient deficiencies, i.e. there are some vitamins and minerals that may be found in plant foods that you're not actually getting from the particular animal foods that you have chosen to have. And without the right research and understanding, you could end up with a deficiency later on down the track, which could end up to another health ailment. So it's really important to make sure that you take a very balanced and well-researched approach. Now, this is something that I would do if one of my clients was vegan or vegetarian or for religious or cultural reasons didn't eat a specific food. I would then educate them on what other foods they could eat that align with the way that they like eating to make sure that they're not going to be deficient in anything. And that's why a plant-based diet can be a perfectly well-balanced diet when people understand what they need, foods that they can include for their optimal outcomes and for the goals that they want to achieve. So I don't believe that there is one specific diet that is better than the other when it comes to fat loss or changing body composition. I believe you have to work within a number of different parameters, and the approach that you should take should be a balanced one, because too much of anything is not really a good thing. If you went down the carnivore diet and you only ate, say, beef and eggs or beef and chicken, you could be missing a whole bunch of fiber and a lot of other vitamins and minerals that can be really great for your gut microbiome and your digestive health. You might not be getting good evacuations because you might not be taking in enough fiber because you completely eliminated plants. Now, on the opposite spectrum to that, if you're going full plant-based but you don't understand where to get your protein intake from, you can have adverse effects from that as well. So it all comes down to finding something or a protocol that works for you because it's based with how you align your beliefs with, and then understanding how to meet your macro and micro energy requirements for the outcome that you want. So that's sort of my thoughts on the carnivore diet. My personal opinion, and for the types of women that I work with, which are busy women whose main aim is fat loss, I probably wouldn't recommend the carnivore diet because I don't believe in having a restricted diet. I believe in flexible eating, taking a balanced whole food approach, and incorporating foods that are both everyday foods and sometimes foods, because there are foods that we build joy and connection over. In particular, if they have a cultural reference. I've worked with people from all different backgrounds, and if I suggested to them that maybe they eliminate carbohydrates, then they would go to family functions and maybe feel like they were missing out, or they're not going to connect with something that was extremely important to them from an emotional connection perspective. So there's lots of different things to take into consideration. If you do want to adopt a carnivore diet from a fat loss perspective, I would research on who you want to follow and why, and make sure that you really understand how to hit both those macro and micro points of view. Otherwise, I would still suggest to be including an abundance of whole foods in your diet, not only from your gut microbiome perspective, but also from a balanced perspective as well.